Very good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar. My name is Julien, and I'll be hosting the webinar today. We'll be waiting just a few additional seconds before everyone enters the room, and then we'll try to start on time. Maybe just a few rules like housekeeping. Yeah, if you are not familiar with Zoom, this is extremely easy to use. So all the mics are off, the videos are off as well. But at the end of my talk, you will have the possibility to open the mic and then ask your question, or if you prefer, you can use the chat live. And I'll dedicate 15 to 20 minutes at the very end of this webinar to answer all your questions. I'll do my best. So together, we are together for around 45 to 50 minutes. I'll try to limit my speech to 30 minutes. Yeah, I'll be as pragmatic as possible. And then after 30 minutes, I will take all the questions that I will read in the chat live. So it's very easy. If you want to ask a question, you just click on the question and answers, and then you just write your question. During the webinar, I will occasionally use some polls. I will poll you and ask you some questions. You will see it's very easy to use as well. You just need to select the answer that you judge appropriate. And then I will share the results with the entire audience that is participating today. So, well, I think it's about time to start. We are 2 minutes past 4 p.m. here in Paris, and my name is Julien Delpech. I'll be hosting this webinar, and as I just mentioned, I'll try to be as pragmatic as possible. Thank you for your participation, and let's start. So first of all, before starting, just my conflict of interest. Well, I am the founder of a startup. It's a French startup. It's called InVivox, and the startup facilitates the training between physicians. Whether it is online or on-site. We have created a platform where it's very easy for physicians, for pharmaceutical companies, medical device manufacturers, to train their physicians. For myself, I have 20 years of experience in the pharmaceutical market and the medical device market. I've spent some time working in different companies. I started my career with Ipsen, a French company. I was based in Russia at the time. I've seen that some of the participants come from Russia. Dobro Pajolova at CM. I've worked also with Allergan. I've worked with Cytori. And then a few years ago, I created InVivox to answer non-met need from the physicians, the peer-to-peer training. So we are around 13 in the company, and we are all based in Bordeaux. So let's jump to the agenda. Yes, the agenda today is how to transform a KOL, a key opinion leader, into a digital opinion leader. And I'll try to give you some tips and also to give you a process how to do that. So what about the agenda? We'll talk about like a DOL, what's the point with digital opinion leaders. We'll also discuss on the how can we help a key opinion leader to become a digital opinion leader, and then how to animate a DOL network, and what are the benefits for a DOL, on the side of the DOL and on the side of a pharmaceutical company, a medical device manufacturer. So just to start with, let me start with something. In the pre-COVIDian era, basically 4 months ago, the in-situ, the on-site events were prominent. whether although the online events, yeah, were taking some ground step by step, but they were still very little. Well, thanks or because of the COVID crisis, yeah, we have seen that the on-site trainings, they've almost vanished in 2020. They will probably come back in 2021. But what we've seen is that online events, yes, have kind of taken the power. Everyone is kind of questioning himself, say, how do I change the on-site into the online? And this is the reason why we're going to discuss about digital opinion leaders today. So what we've also seen, yeah, during this crisis is that there is a kind of a return of the agoraphobia. We will not take the plane as we used to do in the past. We will not go in a stadium as we used to do in the past. Medical conferences, most of them have been cancelled in 2020. They have been postponed to 2021, and we'll see if they really happen in 2021 and what's going to be the crowd or the audience in 2021. So there is like a shift in the paradigm, yeah, that we are facing, that we are seeing. But on the other hand, there's still an enormous need for training, an enormous need for information, for roundtable, postgraduate trainings, etc. So the big question here is how to respond to this need. Well, how do we reinvent ourselves, yeah, to answer these needs? So here's the $1 million question, yeah? How to turn a key opinion leader into a digital opinion leader, and of course, within the regulatory framework. Today, you are a lot of participants coming from a lot of different countries. Yeah. So as you know, the regulatory framework differs from one country to the other. So I will not talk specifically. I will talk globally when it comes to regulatory framework. Maybe let me start with a first question that I would like. I'd like to ask you a first question. So you will see it's very easy to answer. The question is about the online events versus the on-site trainings. It's very easy to answer. Yeah. My question is, when do you think on-site events will start again in your company? So first question is that you have already started, yeah, with on-site events. You have the possibility like they will start during the next quarter before the end of the year. They will start in Q1. They will start later in 2021, or you believe that on-site events are just dead. Yeah, just so pick the right question, the answer that fits the most. And then I will close the poll just in a few seconds, and then I will share with you the different answers. So what's interesting here is that, so let me stop the poll. You have 5 seconds if you want to vote for those that haven't voted yet. All right, so let me share with you the results. So if you can see them, yeah, most of you, so it's almost like half of you believe that the on-site events will start later than Q1 in 2021. That's very interesting. Yeah, I fully agree actually. I believe that on-site events have taken the lead, have taken the power, and then it will take some time before the physicians will come back to on-site events. So thank you very much. And then you will see I will regularly ask you some questions. But let's enter the core of the topic today, how to turn a KOL into a DOL. So first of all, yeah, a key opinion leader, what for? Well, you know that better than I do, yeah, but a KOL is an evangelist because of his notoriety, is someone that has the power to convince a lot of other people. He's also an influencer, yeah. You probably recognize this soccer player, who's a Brazilian guy playing in Paris. He is an influencer. And just a few, this is a study that was recently published. This is about the influencers, what are the vectors that will influence the people in the healthcare environment. So what's interesting is that you will see that people are influenced by different vectors based on their age. Yeah? Older physicians will be influenced by the industry. Younger physicians will be influenced by a medical society or by your peer. Yeah, if you look at the right side of the screen, yeah, the physicians that are less than 45 years old, half of them will be convinced by a peer. Influencers, they have a price, yeah, and I'm happy to share with you that based on the number of followers that you have, yeah, you can pretend to make some money when you post something, yeah. But like for instance on YouTube, you need to have at least 3,000 to 10,000 to make some money as an influencer. Same thing on Facebook, yeah. On Facebook, if you want to make some money, you need to have a minimum of 5,000 followers. But if you have 5,000, yeah, and you recommend the product, you might be willing to ask the company a kind of compensation. Now, well, let's come back to this Brazilian player. Yeah, he's got 125 million subscribers on his Instagram account, and he's paid. This is official. He's paid $650,000, yeah, for a post. It's kind of incredible. The price is just about is the return on investment. And this guy posts something, yeah, is going, like the sales of the product that he mentions, they will be multiplied by 50. So for the companies that are paying $650,000 for a post, actually, this is a very good deal for them. And because the return on investment is good. And you will see during this conversation, we're going to talk a lot about return on investments. So first conclusion, yeah. Well, first of all, HCPs, healthcare professionals, they will travel less and less in the future because of the post-COVIDian era and what happens. Now, what we've just seen, yeah, is that the important thing is never the price. What's important is the calculation, the assessment of the return on investment. And I will try to demonstrate today that the digital opinion leader is a justified investment. And this is very important at a time where we all need to justify our investments and we are preparing our budget for 2021. So I will use a business case, yeah, that I have experienced, like a KOL versus a digital opinion leader. So I will take the example of a KOL that you send to a medical conference, yeah, as we've all done in the past. Yeah, we send a KOL to a medical conference to be on the podium, to comment on a clinical study, for instance. So what are the costs for that? Yeah, well, you know the cost, yeah, but there is the cost of travels. If I send someone from France to the US, I may be willing to pay the business class, the hotel, the compensation, also the marketing person or the salesperson that is going to accompany the guy. So basically, depending on what you're paying, the cost is between 5,000 and 15,000 euros, yeah, to send a key opinion leader for a 7-minute podium in a medical conference. Now, what's interesting is, what is the return on investment when you send a key opinion leader in a medical conference? Well, it's very easy, yeah. It's a mathematical formula. It's based, well, if you know the number of people that are attending the conference, if you're able to assess the number of participants in the room, if you're also able then to measure the number of people from the room that will start prescribing the drug or will order the product or will schedule a meeting with your sales team, then you're able to calculate the return on investment. The problem here is that you don't know. You have the number of participants in the room, you can globally assess them, but since you don't have their data, you don't know who they are, and you are totally unable to assess what is the return on investment. And this is why I've always believed that it's kind of silly, yeah, to spend this huge amount of money, this huge amount of time to send someone in a conference, and you're not able to justify if it was a good investment or not. So now let's do the same thing with a digital opinion leader. So instead of sending the KOL to San Francisco, you're going to tell your KOL that you're going to do that online, the same way we're doing today, exactly the same way. The guy is going to comment online during a webinar the result of a clinical study. So first thing is that the reach is going to be global. Yeah, you're not only addressing the participant of a conference, you are addressing an entire audience, an entire population of physicians. You can prepare your upstream and downstream communication because you can access the replay. There is an interactivity with the participants. At any time you can stop and you can poll the people. You can ask them some questions the same way I just did with you. You get a post-conference feedback. You can use the replay. And what's very important, you gain the data because you ask the people to register for the conference, to attend the webinar, the same way you just did to attend the webinar that I am hosting now. So now it's very easy to calculate the return on investment because you know exactly who participated and you have their data. And also, and it's important to mention, well, there is definitely a very positive ecological impact because you don't send someone at the very end of the world. So if I compare, and I'm not going to go into details, you will get this presentation at the end of my talk. Yeah? But if I compare the two, what's important is that with a DOL, you have a reach without limits, total interactivity, and you're going to generate hot and qualified leads that you're going to use to feed the sales team. Let me illustrate that with Professor Eric Rullier, is a colorectal surgeon from Bordeaux. And as you can see, he published on LinkedIn the results of a clinical study that was published in the Lancet. If you look on the left corner, yes, that I have circled, you can see that there were 42 comments, 400 people who liked it, and actually the post was seen by 25,000 people. And I have isolated on the right side of the screen, yeah, the kind of people who have liked the post. And you can see that they are all in the field of colorectal surgery. So thanks to the social network, it was able to address the right people with the right content. So, second part of my presentation, yeah, is how can we participate in the transformation of a KOL into a DOL, yeah? And this is where I'm going to tell you what is the process, so please bear with me. I'll try to be as precise and pragmatic as possible. So I'll give you some tips to spot a digital opinion leader and then the process. So key elements of a digital opinion leader, yeah, if you want to identify them on the social networks. So first of all, you have to check that easy on the social network and easy on the right social networks. If he has accounts on the social networks, how many followers he has, and what is the audience? For instance, if he's a gynecologist, you want to make sure that the audience is made of gynecologists. Yeah. If not, it doesn't help a lot. You want to check the level of activity on the social networks. If someone has an account but is not doing nothing, well, it's kind of useless. And what you want to validate as well is the quality of the content that is published on the social network of the guy. Yeah, how often does he publish some stuff, and what is the quality of the content? And if you publish something, you want to measure the impact of the activity. It's very easy to measure. Yeah, you can just count the number of likes, people who share the content, people who comment. You can also check if he's kind of a consensual guy or a polemicist. Yeah, you may want to go towards polemicist as long as they are doing that smartly. And of course, a good DOL has all the other assets of a KOL. So where are they? Yeah, you know, all the different social networks. There is a social network that is dedicated to different kind of population. If you're willing to address the nurses, yeah, you'd rather use Facebook than LinkedIn. On the other hand, if you are willing to address medical specialists, well, you may want to use LinkedIn. That is a highly professional network, and it will be you'll be very precise when it comes to addressing the right population of physicians. Twitter are for other purposes, yeah, for journalists, urologists, kind of a surprise, but this is where they are. And then other networks like WhatsApp and Instagram, depending on the population. As my kids like to say, yeah, if you're not on the social media, you're absolutely nowhere today. So let's start now, yeah, with the process. And the process of DOLization, yeah, is made of 4 different steps. The 4 steps is that you want to convince the KOL you want to give him the right reasons why he should become a digital opinion leader. So how do you do that? So first of all, use other people's social network, like peers. Yeah, use if the guy is a cardiologist, use the social network of another cardiologist that has a very powerful impact, very powerful presence on the social networks. Yeah, of course it will trigger the curiosity, maybe a little bit of jealousy as well. But at the end of the day, it's a very good way to convince people to go on social networks. Yeah, explain also the impact for a KOL, yeah, to become a DOL. And this is what I think this is what my kids say. Yeah, well, if you're not on social media, you're no one, you're nowhere, man. So explaining what are going to be the benefits. Yeah, and spatially, and we'll come back to that, the share of voice that it will gain. I've shown you the example of this colorectal surgeon. You may want to use this example, yeah, to demonstrate the impact on other physicians. Use numbers, yeah. Explain that there are like 700 million people on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, it's very easy. Yeah, you just need to type, for instance, colorectal surgeon, and LinkedIn will tell you exactly how many of them are registered as colorectal surgeons. Make a contract. Yeah, when we work with KOL and we want them to become DOL, we have a contract that is extremely simple. Yeah, it's DocuSign, so it's very easy for the physician, where we explain what we're going to do on the social networks and also what we're not going to do on the social networks for the DOL. And of course, yeah, explain that you'll be in full compliance with the regulatory framework that is in place in the country. So that's step number 1. Yeah, how to convince a KOL to become a DOL. Once you have convinced, well, I'm sorry, just here is a good illustration. Yeah, we're working with Professor Alain Cribier. He's an interventional cardiologist. He didn't have a social network. He didn't want to, but after a little bit of convincing, he agreed that, okay, we could open an account for him on LinkedIn. And look, in less than 3 years, we have created for him more than 27,000 contacts that are all in the field of interventional cardiology and cardiology. Yeah, and I mean, we have tools to automate that within my company. And now he has 27,000 people. And whenever he publishes something, yeah, it is going to be viewed and available for 27,000 people. So first step was to convince. Second step is in the process is to create. So to create what? First of all, you want to create accounts on the major social networks. Yeah, start with LinkedIn. Yeah, this is the most professional social network that you may use. But don't neglect other social networks, like have a Facebook one, have an Instagram one, have a Twitter one. Yeah, it doesn't bother and it's free of charge. Yeah, so why wouldn't you do that? And then don't limit yourself to global, like general social networks. Create other accounts on more specialized network. Yeah, this is about creating a mesh. Yeah, this is about creating a network in order for your posts, for your publications to kind of like respond to each other. And of course, enrich the content of an account when you create them. Yeah, put a lot of information on an account. Yeah, if you create a LinkedIn account, try to be as exhaustive as possible. Let me give you an example. This is an account that we create. All the experts on the platform in Vivox that I created, they have their own profile. So basically what we do is that we take their CV and we transform their CV into something that is easier to digest. And what we do is that, well, we start with a nice picture of the premises. Then we list all the upcoming events, whether they are online or on-site. What we also do is that we are going to publish the opinions from the previous trainings, yeah, from the previous events. They are very important to reinsure. Yeah, this is what we do. Yeah, whenever you probably use Airbnb or TripAdvisor, you check what the others thought about the apartment, thought about the food. On the profile that we create for our experts, we can enrich the content with videos. And we also have created a very nice tool. This is a little robot that is linked to PubMed. And this robot is going to update all the new publications that are on PubMed. So for the physicians that are working with us, their profile becomes their online CV that is automatically updated with their PubMed publication. So that was point number 2. Yeah. Point number 1 was to convince. Second one was to create. And then once you have convinced and created a network, well, it comes to growing the network. So point 3 is how to grow the network of a physician. So first of all, there is a lot of automation tools. Yeah, some of them are available on LinkedIn. They help to create the community. And we're using them a lot in our company. Yeah, it's like little robots that are going to invite people from the same specialty to join the network of a physician. And in a few weeks, in a few months, we are able to change the numbers from a few hundreds to a few thousands people that are within the account of a specialist, of an expert. Of course, there are the same kind of tools that exist on Facebook. There is a famous one, like it's called the lookalike. They really help a lot. In order to grow the network, it's also very important to follow others. Try to identify who are the big names, who are the influencers on the networks, and follow them. Yeah, follow them. That will help a lot. Create your own hashtag and use the hashtag at the end of each of your posts or in the middle of your post. propose a social media training for the experts. Yeah, they might be interested to have a social media training, how to create the content, what kind of content, what time, etc. And of course, interact with peers. Yeah, tag them when you create a post. Yeah, tag your peers because this is the way that they will be informed that you have published something, and then they will eventually react to what you have published. So that's point number 3. Yeah, grow the network. Last point is about feeding the community, feeding the network. So first of all, yeah, so in order to feed the network, you need to create some content. You need to publish. You need to publish regularly. You need to publish the right content. Yeah, right content meaning it's about the topic, it's about the inner content, but also about the substance. You've got to diversify the content. Yeah, you cannot publish all the time the same content. It will not work at all. So you need to think about, like, for instance, on a weekly basis, what am I going to publish this week and the next week? And this week it's going to be an article. The next week it's going to be a short video. Third week is going to be a poll. Just so to diversify the content. Use keywords. Yeah. Try to think about when you think about, if you, I don't know, if you're in the field of cardiology or a very specific topic, try to enlarge this topic and use keywords. It will be very good for your search engine optimization, of course. I just mentioned it, but tag people and key institutions. Yeah, key institutions that might be your hospital, they might be your healthcare environment, they might be a medical society, but tag people. Tagging super important to grow and to feed the network. And of course, choose the right timing for publication. Yeah, there are people that will publish on Sunday on LinkedIn. Yeah, it's useless. Yeah, really, really useless. Just to give you an idea, yeah, there's a right timing to publish on social media. And if you're thinking about publishing on LinkedIn, yeah, avoid Monday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Publish on Tuesday and Wednesday. And depending on the time schedule where you are, publish rather in the morning than in the afternoon. So that was the 4 steps. Yeah. Let me illustrate the 4th step with some events. Here's another physician from Bordeaux. This is the kind of the perfect post. Yeah, this guy has got a lot of people following him, and when he publishes something, he's using tags. He's tagging people. So you see, he's tagging the CHU, which is the University Hospital of Bordeaux. He's tagging colleagues. He's tagging influencers, and instead of using an image, he's using a short video. Yeah, 11 seconds video, which is kind of a teasing. The videos, they will get more views than the other, and you can see the result. Yeah, just like 24 hours after the publication, he had a lot of comments and more than 10,000 people who viewed the video. Same thing. He published the same thing on Instagram, I believe, or Facebook, but he used a different content. Yeah, he used an image that is more appropriate to Facebook, for instance, and the text was different as well. So this is kind of like a perfect example of someone that is smartly using the social networks as a digital opinion leader. So last part of my talk, but before that, let me launch like a little poll for all of you. The poll is, sorry, it's coming, is about the DOL. Yeah. How many of you, how many of your KOL do you consider as digital opinion leader? Yeah. So I hope the question is clear. Yeah. How many of your existing KOLs do you think have already moved as digital opinion leaders, according to what I've told you? thank you for all your answers. Let me give you an additional 5 seconds, and then I will close the poll. Yeah. All right. So I'm closing the poll now. And then let me share the result with all of you. So you can see that most of you, yes, they believe that it's only 1/5, yeah, 20% of your KOL that are already digital opinion leaders. That's great news. That means there is so much space for improvement, and you can really bring them a new service, yeah, because I believe and I know all the KOLs, if you introduce the topic properly, they'll be willing to become digital opinion leaders. So last part of my presentation, it's a short one, and then I will take the questions. So how do I help to animate the network of the management of a network of a DOL? I mentioned it, yeah, but I'm not afraid of repeating myself. Diversify the content. Yeah, how do you diversify the content? Well, you can create webinars, you can create virtual classrooms. A virtual classroom is, I love the tool, yeah, where you limit the number of people to between 10 and 20 people, and it's going to be a very quality time that they're going to spend with an expert on a specific topic. You can organize postgraduate activities, of course, online. You can publish and comment a clinical study, as I just mentioned it. You can create and publish an interactive clinical case. You can comment a surgical movie. Yeah, we had the example a few days ago where we had one expert who selected 3 surgical movies of his own, complex cases, and he shared them online during a virtual classroom with 20 of his peers. The peers, the feedback from the participant was really excellent, because they said that in 1 hour, they were able to understand a lot of things, to see 3 different complex cases that were commented by the expert. The expert was very much at ease because he was not live. Yeah, he could stop the movie, he could rewind the movie, he could give some other explanations, etc. So it's been a very, very powerful session. So diversify the content is number 1. Of course, adapt the content to the expectations of different audiences. It's kind of surprising, but like men and women are not expecting the same kind of interactions. Of course, this is the beauty of marketing. Here's an example, yeah, of what they do at the Anti-Cancer Center in Paris, Gustave Roussy. This is the way they now announce, like a bunch of physicians will share their experience of a conference, of an online conference. So it's very well done. And keep in mind that you have one goal. Yeah? What you want to reach is what's called the snowball effect on the social media. Yeah? It's the multiplier effect, that if you're using the right digital opinion leader with the right notoriety, and that he has like a big number of followers, if he's publishing the right content, it's going to generate a lot of views. And this is the goal, yeah, the snowball effect on the social media. And when it works, it's so beautiful. So the snowball effect, as I just told you, depends on the quality of the content, on the regularity of the publications. You've got to engage your network. You've got to argue intelligently with your network to bring an original or different point of view on an issue, for instance. Engage your troops. By your troops, I mean enjoy your sales team. Yeah, and it is kind of like it's a team job where to create the snowball effect. And associate, tag the main stakeholders. I've said it before, like tag the medical society, tag the right people. And of course, publish at the right moment, as I just said. Yeah, and never forget to track all your actions. Yeah, this is the only way you're going to be able to measure the return on investment. And this is the only way you're going to be able to collect the data. Ask yourself the right question, yeah. What information do I need for an efficient tracking? I need to do everything according to the GRPD. What is the strategy to follow up after an event, after an action? And how will I retarget the participants? So, and this is the conclusion of my talk today. Yeah, what you want to reach, of course, is the multiplier effect. Yeah, and you want to transform a key opinion leader into a digital opinion leader to obtain the multiplier effect, that the share of voice, yeah, will help you to convince hundreds, thousands of other physicians, nurses, etc. So DOL, yeah, my perception is that this is every KOL's dream to gain visibility. This is why they are a KOL. And very often, yeah, the use of social networks remains a mystery to many key opinion leaders. What I hear a lot is, I've got no time for that. I'm too old, not for me. I don't need that. But actually, this is the contrary, yeah? They're not too old. It's just that they don't know how to use them. And I believe this is a fantastic opportunity because this is a new service that we can bring to our clients, that we can bring to the key opinion leaders to let them know that, well, you're not too old, you actually need that, and you will see the impact, and we're going to do that for you. We're going to help you to transform your notoriety that doesn't exist online, and we're going to transform that. And this is a great combo that will involve the marketing and the sales team as well, together with the medical team. But at the end of the day, what they're going to get is more audience, more notoriety, and a share of voice that will be higher than ever. Yeah? Well, you know better than me, there is nothing more convincing than a peer. So, oh yeah, sorry, I wanted to illustrate with the last example. So how to connect with spine surgeons in the US. We have a new client in Vivox, and it's a French company. They're about to launch a new medical device, and they obtained the FDA agreement. And their strategy was like the good old strategy. Yeah, you hire some people in the US, and then you're going to work with spine surgeons. What we proposed them was something totally different. Yeah, we used LinkedIn. LinkedIn told us how many spine surgeons we could find in the US, 46,000. And actually, our proposal was to select some of them with the appropriate network. So we've identified some of them who were already digital opinion leaders, and we started to work with them to share their voice and actually to let the other population of spine surgeons in the US know about the launch of this new product. So instead of hiring people and the cost of the sales force in the US, the budget was very limited, but it was very good introduction to launch the product in the US. Of course, after that, you need to have a technical sales team, to work with the surgeons. But instead of hiring the people first and then to let them work, we have kind of like shifted the paradigm. So the main benefits is that the share of voice and credibility is always like relays that you obtain from that. And at the end of the day, my point is that there is like a win-win deal between the digital opinion leaders and industrials, because we're really bringing an additional value, a new product, a new services to them if we help them to become digital opinion leaders. So this is the conclusion of my talk. What I'm offering you, for those who are interested, I'm going to take the questions now. If you want to ask the questions on the video, it's possible. I'm also available. Yeah, if you want to continue the discussion in one-on-one, send me a LinkedIn email or a WhatsApp or an email, and we'll schedule like 30 minutes together. Yeah, to go through your issue or your point. I'll be happy to do that one-on-one. So let me start with a last poll, and then I will take the questions. Yeah. So the last poll is about the assessment of this training, of this webinar. Yeah. So please be totally honest. I'm fully open to criticism. So I'm opening the vote now. Did this webinar answer your expectations? First possibility is beyond my expectations. Second is totally. Third, partially. And last possibility is not at all. And please, yeah, if it did not, I'll be happy to understand why and how I can improve that for in the future. So let me give you an additional 10-15 seconds before we move to the questions. All right, I'm sharing with you the results. Almost half of you say that, well, I totally answered your expectations, so thank you very much. Almost 40% of you were partially satisfied, and I'm sorry, I've used my best, but this is also the reason why I'm offering, yeah, to continue the discussion in one-on-one. Yeah, if we're only partially satisfied, let's schedule a meeting, a one-on-one, and I'll try to maybe to be more precise on some points, or to understand better what is your issue or what you want to do. But I swear that if you send me an email or WhatsApp right after this webinar, I will answer the email immediately, and I will find some time to make sure that we can discuss that. So thank you very much. Let me open the questions here now. I've seen that some of you, you have the possibility to raise the hand, yeah, and I can open your mic if you want, or you can just ask the question by on the Q&A section. So is someone willing to ask a question? Up, yes. So I have a question from Glenn.
Excellent. Hi, Julian. Thank you for the very, very engaging and interesting talk. My question is, at what time should we start paying our DOLs like they pay Neymar, or what is a more reasonable cost expectation per engagement?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you, Glenn. So I think that, first of all, it will take some time to build the network of a DOL. Yeah, it will take like if we use our automation tools at InVivox, we are able to send between 2,000 and 3,000 invitations on a monthly basis. Yeah, so if you want to grow the network of a cardiologist on the global scale, yeah, if you use our services during 3 months, we will be able to send between 7,000 and 10,000 invitations. Of course, the invitations will not be accepted, all of them, but usually, when the cardiologist invites another cardiologist to join in his network, the level of acceptation is very high. There is the first period to take into account. Yeah, you need at least 3 months to build the network. If you use the tools that are proposed by LinkedIn, it will cost you a fortune. If you use the tools that we have developed on our own, like the robots, etc., it will cost probably 1/5 of the cost on LinkedIn. So this is, but keep in mind, yeah, you need this time, these 3 months to create, to grow the network. And then after that, you are going to publish on a regular basis. So we engage, we help our experts with the content, we suggest some new content. And depending on what you want to do, yeah, some content is kind of like, it's very easy to create, yeah, or some content can be more elaborated, like a video, a poll, an interactive clinical case, but you need to diversify that. So just to give you like something like a range, on a yearly basis for an expert, you need to dedicate between 2,000 and 5,000 euros.
Just a quick follow-up, if I may. That presumably doesn't include paying the DOL for their service as part of this. Do you currently pay them for postings that are placed?
We never. No, we don't. We don't. First of all, because they are super happy to see their network growing. You know, like they were absolutely nowhere when we started with them. And then after a few months, they become super enthusiastic about the fact that they have 5,000 people on their LinkedIn account. And whenever they post something, they have some people that they don't know. They have people from all over the world that react, that ask some questions, that are kind of like engaged in the conversation. So we never pay them. And also because we suggest the content or we help them with some of the content.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Glenn. I have a second question from that I'm not sure.
Hi.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, this is Dr. Bhupendra from India. Thank you. Great talk. I think it's very helpful. My question was closely related to what you just answered. The content need on the social media platform, the significant amount of content that needs to be posted regularly. What's your recommendation? Who creates that content? Usually, DOLs don't have time to provide quality content. And sometimes policy regulations don't allow the industry to provide content. How do you solve that problem?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The DOL, they will not create the content. Some of them will see some interesting content, but actually it's not their job. They have not been educated to use the social networks. So actually what we do is that we suggest, or when they find some interesting content, we help them with the substance and the font of the content. Yeah, tagging the right people, mentioning the right medical society. But you're right, they don't create the content. So it has to be whether the industry that is suggesting some content, yeah, or but this is part of the services that we provide, yeah, where we can propose some content as well.
Got it. Just a follow-up question, if I may, a very short one. So for your services, who pays for your services? Is it the surgeon or the industry? What's allowed as per law?
The law, as I mentioned at the beginning, yeah, the regulatory framework is very different whether you operate in France, in India, or in the US. But in most of the cases, yeah, we are paid by the industry to help growing the networks of the experts. And this is in full transparency. Of course, we always operate in full compliance and full transparency within the regulatory frameworks.
Got it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. is there another question? It's, you know, if you want to ask a question, you may raise your hand. There is this little icon that is very easy to use. And then I'll give you the, I'll open the mic for you. And I can also read some questions, yeah. I have a questions from Gladys. Is there a fee per web engagement for the DOL that has been established yet? No, it's a very good question. You know, there is as I mentioned for Neymar, for instance, and all the stars, there is an official fee based on the number of followers and kind of like a range, that you should pay them when they post something. It's not the case in the medical environment. And, you know, my recommendation is not to ask them to post something about your company. It is to post, for instance, to post a clinical study that involves one of your product, and to propose them, well, let's organize a webinar during which you're going to comment on the clinical study. Or, as I mentioned earlier as well, you could select some movies, surgical movies, and ask an expert to comment the surgical movies in a virtual classroom. This is very efficient. But no official fee that has been established yet. There's a question about someone that is asking about the online events. How is it possible to make sure that the people behind their screens are actually active and not doing other stuff? It's indeed a very good question. And you know, what we're trying to do when we organize webinars, we're trying to involve the people. So like asking some questions I just did on a regular basis. Every 7 to 8 minutes is a good way to do things. And what you can also do when you want to make sure about the engagement, you have the possibility at the end of a webinar, yeah, for the people to receive a certificate. You can automate the certificates at the end of a conference, but you can ask them some questions to make sure that they have carefully followed like a training or something like this. There is a lot of things that you can do to make sure that to validate the engagement of the people. And actually, you know, when I used to attend a medical conference, I was always kind of surprised or astonished by the number of people who were just sitting with their phone on and not really listening to the podium, but more like talking to their cell phone. Well, this is most of the question I have for the time being. I don't know if someone wants to take the mic and ask an additional question. For your information, yeah, you will receive the replay of this webinar. You will receive the replay not tomorrow, but probably on Monday. We will cut the different sections, so you don't have to view the entire webinar if you want to address one of the questions. And I mentioned, yeah, and I really promise that I will answer all your demand if you want to continue this discussion in one-on-one, and then discuss your own issue or your own strategy, or if there are some topics that you'd like to go deeper. Well, it is 5 o'clock. It's the limit that I gave to myself and to all of you. Well, thanks to all of you for participating in this webinar. I'm very glad that I answered some of your expectations. And please, yeah, one more time, if you want to continue the discussion in one-on-one, just write me, send me an email on LinkedIn, and I will immediately answer. Well, thanks to all of you. I wish you a very good end of the day. Maybe a very good day for the ones that are on the American soil. And well, I'm looking forward to seeing you next time for the next webinar. Goodbye.